I'm at Walmart, Grantsville, Utah. I'm looking at methods to deliver our soap straight from concentrates rather than diluting it in the big tanks with water. So what I've got over here is a HydroFlex Versatile installed. This is going into the existing injector. This system has an HE pump, booster pump, rather than the big pumps in the DDA. Anyway, in this case, what we've got here is the HydroFlex Versatile. It goes down into our concentrates, and I've got just a pickup tube, and on the bottom, that's a screen. That's not a foot valve. All this apparatus here is just to keep it submerged down into the drum. And the reason I don't have a foot valve is because there is a check valve built into the HydroFlex Versatile. The injector here was not performing very well. I did a test before hooking all this up, and it was getting about 45 to 1 from the step 2, mixed step 2 over to here. And then what I did was open up the metering screw all the way. I had necked down this screw a little bit to get good suction at this point. But anyway, the metering, the chemical metering is being provided by the Versatile, not by the metering screw on the injector. So in this case, we've got our Thunder x5 pulling it directly out of the barrel, going through the Versatile into the injector here, and I am getting 25 to 1 out of the gantry. Again, this is using testing using a TDS meter and a calibration. I calibrated a couple samples to help me get the correct numbers on that. But anyway, 25 to 1 is what we're getting out there. And you can adjust the dial up or down. In my opinion, at the locations that have the HE pumps, the booster pumps, you should be using a system similar to this. When you start getting into peristaltic pumps and some of these dosing pumps, they get to be quite expensive. This is a very inexpensive change, although I would recommend going with either a HydroFlex style injector like this. This is not the correct size. Or DEMA does have some of these injectors that are more chemical resistant. These, the DEMA injector here, these stainless steel ones, they degrade over time, whereas the plastic ones made out of Kynar, they do hold up much better. So what I would recommend is sizing the injector correctly for the nozzles on the gantry. Probably get engineering involved with that, choosing the correct injector, using a Versatile, and then going directly into concentrates. There's no reason why this shouldn't work for wax or acids, anything like that. It should work pretty much with any chemical. There are no parts in this thing that will degrade. And then we would kind of have some baseline settings that we would give to the CSRs and techs. The number on the dial, I don't know if you can see that or not, but you can select the number down there and you can adjust this up or down. And what I would recommend doing is have do a draw test in the field. So you would maybe do a 2-minute, since it's concentrated, it's going to be harder to read that. And you got to be careful doing your draw test because you're pulling such small amounts. But anyway, you would do a draw test for a certain amount of time and then adjust the dial up or down. This way you wouldn't need to send samples into Mike, and you wouldn't need to have any test equipment or titration kits or anything like that in the field. While I'm kind of here and talking about it, I think all the locations that have the HE booster pump should be using these injectors. Well, in the case of the Penske's, we use those orange injectors rather than the system we have set up here. Because if you look at this, we're boosting the water pressure down here. Then we come up, we go down here and we regulate it down, and then we boost it back up to a known number, and then we're going over to the injector, and then we're on the wall. At the Penske's that have the HE booster pumps, we're just using those orange injectors. I actually think it should go one size up to a gray. I think it's the next size up. Somebody could verify that. And that would eliminate all of this business here, and I believe it'd be more reliable as well. And there's no reason why you couldn't use the Versatile on a pre-spray system as well. So this would totally eliminate the need for mixing chemicals with water, and get rid of the big tanks in the mechanical room. Now, for the systems that have dosing pumps, I believe we could accomplish the same thing with those Grundfos DDA pumps. Just put those in and dial them down. They're pretty accurate, and you could set them up to run straight out with concentrates. I believe that shouldn't be an issue. Oh, I was going to say one more thing. This is 1/4-inch tubing going up here to this barb, which is very common. But this tubing up top, I actually don't know where I got this. This is I think it's a silicone tubing that's smaller than 1/4-inch, might be metric, and the reason why I have different tubing here is because this barb is smaller than this barb down here. And what it is the way this Versatile was originally designed was to work with a proprietary system that Hydroflex was using. And they were trying to force you to buy their equipment. So anyway, to get around that, and so they had a quick connect fitting and smaller tubing on here. To get around that, I've got I think it's a silicone tubing that is smaller diameter than this 1/4-inch tubing, and it will stretch over a 1/4-inch barb, and it'll fit pretty tightly on this fitting down here that is smaller than a 1/4-inch. So just keep that in mind. There may be some Mickey Mousing around to figure out what type of tubing to use. And I'm sorry I couldn't tell you where I got this from. I've had it roll with it for a long time. I think that's just about everything. Yeah, so we'll leave it at that. Thank you all. Bye.